Welcome to this introductory video to the Pineapple Podcast. We've been recording for about a year now, and we got a few pings from some well-wishers and friends who said, maybe you guys should just introduce yourselves. A lot of the people don't know who you are. So this is us weirdly, awkwardly going to speak to each other for some time, and let's see if we can introduce ourselves. Mario, do you want to introduce
Yeah,
yourself?
let's see. Remind me again, how did this whole idea actually begin? We never thought we'd do anything even close to this. I mean, we were just, we just love each other's company. We just keep talking and talking. Whose idea was this? Was this yours?
First, this love each other's company. I know. So let's get that out of the way. I think what ended up happening was everyone is seeing this setup. This is actually the living room of my house, and we have rearranged a bunch of things to save money. And we're shooting a podcast here. We have people sitting here behind the camera who are managing things for us. And there used to be a sofa right here. There still is, by the way. After this sofa comes back, and on that sofa we were having a few drinks, and we suddenly realized that we were gossiping for about 2, 3, 4 hours.
Was, yeah.
And
On a regular basis.
that ended up happening fairly regularly. And we thought, okay, look, we should talk to other people and see what's up. And we did. And what's it been like 1 year for you? Who's your favorite guest so far?
Quite a few. That's a difficult one to pick.
Rucha Valawalkar is your
Shawala Valkar is clearly right up there. She had worked on quite a few domains which were very interesting, very unique set. I don't know anybody who's been so deep in tech
Yeah, I agree.
and then wants to go completely take a 9-degree twist and start her own psychology, if I remember right. I mean, it's totally different opposite side.
That was episode 6. So check that out if you haven't yet. And that's Mario's favorite guest. I don't yet have a favorite. I will say the most successful guest we've had is probably episode 5.
You don't think she's one of the? I mean, how many women do you know who worked on an oil rig?
I said that in my introduction video, saying that she's the woman who opened oil.
Yeah, you did.
Actually, you're selling it to me.
Yeah, I'm selling it to you.
If I remember, you said, why are we bringing her on the podcast?
Do you have any evidence? You don't have any evidence on that.
I will put WhatsApp messages. I brought her.
Okay, I give that to you. Yeah.
So, anyway,
favorite,
as always, we went off on a tangent. We are supposed to introduce ourselves. So, let's see if we can do this impromptu. We are, of course, Toastmasters, which is something which we have mentioned on the show quite a bit. So, people are obviously wondering what is Toastmasters. Toastmasters is a public speaking and leadership platform. I actually met Mario as a part of Toastmasters. We are at a club called the Mumbai Toastmasters, meets in Bandra National College every Sunday. And it's a lot of people who are interested in getting better, learning leadership skills, networking, social. How do you get up on stage and give an effective speech, communicate well? Those kind of concepts are easily available in Toastmasters. I believe I met you when you gave a speech for the first time at the club online. And after that, you evaluated a speech of mine. And then you just came to the house once.
know how you even remember that. I didn't, if you recall, I was just sitting down on a chair.
Yes.
I hadn't even combed my hair. In fact, I was just lying back.
By the way, guys, this is him combing his hair, by the way. If he combs his hair, this is what it looks like.
As if I was talking in my sleep, and then you came after me and like, wow. I'm like, that is not wow. Yeah, but I recall we did meet at Toastmasters. Oh, and for the audience, Krishna is a high-ranking member of the district leadership in Toastmasters, which means he can't.
It will sound like I'm a member of the Illuminati, a high-ranking member.
Apparently, you're not pulling rank on. Yeah, so Krishna has done quite a bit for the movement since he joined. He's spoken to many people, and we've become great friends over time. And as you can see, we just enjoy having a go at one another. Please take it the right way.
Actually, some of the comments that I received is I constantly have a go at you. And people, at least people have messaged me saying, stop bullying Mario so much. I can't bully Mario. He's 30 years my senior. How am I going to bully him?
Not many people will agree that the age difference is 30 years. I mean, we look like, what, 10 years apart?
You get Botox regularly, what will happen? Okay, introduce yourself to the camera. At least here's what I know about you that everyone should know. You're pretty well read. You're very aware. technologically. You have a massive interest in artificial intelligence. You have an opinion about what artificial intelligence will do in the world. You are a trainer at Teradata, but now you are also open to consulting and giving your advice to other companies, startups who are interested in AI. And you've won many public speaking events. You've
Yeah.
been a Toastmaster for what, 15, 16, 17 years?
Yeah.
You were
Correct.
born in India but raised in Malaysia.
Yeah.
And you have two brothers, one of whom is, I like him more than I like you.
Yeah, I know, and I'm surprised you like both. You don't like both of them.
I haven't met the other one.
Yeah.
I haven't met the other one. But yes, I love you, Angelo. And that's what did I miss? What did I want?
No, I think that's pretty much enough for now. If you remember any more, yeah, keep it yourself. Okay, yeah. So you've already given my introduction. I don't need to
So
tell.
you do the same for me. First, add if I missed anything, and then you give for me.
So a few things about what Krishna says. I'm well read on artificial intelligence, but a lot of other people are. So that kind of negates my advantage. In fact, reading is a common passion between Krishna and me. You should see Krishna's library.
This is it.
This is 10% of what it is. I mean, a day before this whole podcast starts, we undertake this operation where we have to
I'll put a photo of my life.
we'll remove all his books from the two. Yeah, these two cupboards will be full of books, and we'll have to move them to another room and keep it there so we can free up this place. So Krishna reads a ton of books, and I don't know. I mean, I need at least 2 or 3 lifetimes to read the amount of books you have. Krishna speed reads, and
I do not see people. I do not see.
no, I'm sorry. I tweeted in your introduction. Now you have to stomach whatever I say about you.
I do not have an option.
You don't have an option. So Krishna, okay, let me rephrase. Krishna digests a lot of information, but you listen to podcasts at 2x, right? So that speed listening.
Some podcasts, Lex and stuff, I listen at 2x. In fact, you should consider listening to our podcast faster if you guys want to. But yeah, Lex at 2x, Joe Rogan at 1.5x, Ranveer Alabadi at 1. He himself says you should watch my podcast at 1.5x. So I watch it at 1.5 to 1.7. Most of them I do watch. Ben Shapiro, if I'm watching him online, it's at regular speed. He speaks too fast normally. In fact, I might slow down the podcast when Ben Shapiro is speaking.
So the where I actually got to interact with Krishna is when we had a debate contest now club a few years ago. This was during the pandemic, so it was all online, and I was part of one team, and then Krishna joined our team, and they said he's going to mentor us. Now I didn't know that he was actually a debating champion in his school, and he had won multiple awards, and even this professor was scared of him. So I thought, who is this guy who's joining, who's going to give me advice? But then I played nice person. I said, Krishna, please tell me. And then he thought a great deal about me. He still thinks, I don't know why, but but I listened to him, and then later on he gave this whole session about debating in alcohol. He almost took a workshop, and that was my jaw-dropping moment when I'm like, wow, this person had actually joined our team to mentor, and I didn't take full advantage of his skill set. So Krishna is a great debater. He's a great leader. He knows critical thinking. He's risen up so high in his organization, and sometimes I feel I have so much to learn from him, although he's a little younger than me just by a few years or so. We all have to learn from. Thankfully, you're not so much more younger than me. Otherwise, I can be completely, totally,
Okay, this mutual admiration society ends here. So here's you mentioned debates, right? So let me share a nice, fun personal story about myself. I was in a debate in, I want to say engineering, maybe second or third year of engineering, and we were on stage. It was we won. And I remember that I was not happy about winning. In the sense, I was happy, I got the trophy, ha ha, he, I took the photo. But I do remember feeling really horrible about myself, and I didn't understand why. So I came back to my room, and I already had a small journaling habit that had started. I started writing for a bit, and while I was writing, it started something hit me that what I just said as a part of that debate. In a debate, usually it's the debates, how they are structured nowadays is, look, here is the topic, coin toss, you are for, you are against.
Yeah.
And you just start and you have to win the debate, and it's who can win. Same thing had happened. I was given, I don't remember the topic now, but I was given one side and I had to debate the other. And I won. But while I was writing, I realized I didn't believe a single word that I said. It really hit me that, okay, look, I didn't believe a single word that I said.
But isn't that the art of debating? That you have to put your 4 points across in an extremely convincing way?
That's my problem with the debate. That's why I stopped debating since then. So for me, the debate is no longer, I have to beat you. That's not in my mind a debate. A debate always has to be, look, both sides need to try and get to the truth, not my truth, not your truth, the truth.
But that goes completely against what a debate is about, or does it?
The point system, the way it's structured, being on camera, audience is watching you, a host is asking you questions, yes, it does. But traditional debate was always, why do people have a debate? Because you have a point of view, I have a point of view. Let's see where we are disagreeing and get to the bottom of it. One of the greatest things about a debate, so the opposite has become famous today, which is called the straw man. You create this artificial entity and everyone is only attacking the straw man for the rest of the session. I like the opposite. It's called the steel man. A steel man is, let's say you and me are debating about something. Pick any random topic, right? We're debating about something. I have to start the debate by saying, where do we agree? I have to say, look, we agree all the way until here. And here is where we start to disagree. And both of us have to agree that that is true, that we agree until this point. Now that makes the debate so much more interesting. Because now if we're debating something Israel-Palestine, we're debating AI and its impact on society, we're debating anything, abortion, whatever topic you want to pick. If we can backtrace as to until what point are we in agreement and then see where the split is happening. Now it's so much easier to have a constructive debate because it's not like you want to stay there, but you want to understand, okay, we're dividing here. What are the commonalities in our division?
Yeah, but anyway, in a debate, you will not be attacking each other over what you agree. You'll always be attacking on the conflicting points. So why even start here? Aren't you just reinforcing what you already know and you're not going to say?
For example, I was most recently I'll start saying discussion or discussion about abortion. All right. And this is not even my idea. I think I read it. I saw it online. I think Jordan Peterson or someone said it online and it resonated with me. So I used the same line. While we're debating, either you're pro-life or you're pro-choice, whatever you are, while the debate was raging on, I made one comment that in my mind, the debate about abortion is something that's not easily solvable. But the problem is that we are not talking about the easy access to sex today. And because of the easy access to sex, you can't deny that the increase in the demand for abortion has gone up. I'm in no way saying that abortion is sex and there are obviously reasons you should have an abortion, shouldn't have an abortion, different debate. But I would like to debate this, that access to premarital sex is at levels it was never at in the history of our society. If we discuss this deeply, we might not have to discuss abortion.
But on the same lines, access to contraceptives and all these, facilities to prevent.
That started in 1965. Contraceptives.
But this is also, if your cases, we can discuss this. Then we can discuss ways where you can have sex and prevent the abortion, right? So,
But that started in 1965, the contraceptive, and I was still debating abortion. Contraceptives is not something that started last year.
Yeah.
You can get a condom for $1
Yeah.
or less, very cheap. You can go to any pharmacy, 24-hour pharmacy, and they'll give you.
So, but if your point is this is causing that, then it shouldn't cause because we've already had them. So what's stopping people from using that then?
Now this is more
This is-
fun
yeah.
for discussion. You see what happened?
Yeah.
So if you go for a debate on abortion, you go to ChatGPT, Gemini, and you chat and you say, give me the pro-life arguments. Go to the other side, give me the pro-choice arguments, and you'll get them. And now both sides have it. Now just go on stage and do a performance.
So the pro-life, the right wing, are against using contraceptives. So that's where this.
I think they are against using the post-sex contraceptive, the day after pill and those things. They're against that because in their mind, that's still a form of abortion. I don't think they have an issue with condoms or being on the pill or anything like that. I don't think. If they are, they are. But
I think some of them do because for a lot of people.
But okay, now you see what's happening.
Yeah, we see.
You see what's happening here. You gave an introduction of me saying I'm some debating champion.
Yeah.
But look at the discussion we're having, right? There is no animosity. We are not trying to prove each other wrong. I'm not trying to one up you in any way. You're not trying to one up me in any way. We are not trying to win. We're trying to actually get to the bottom of an issue. This is more fun for me, and this is why I started the
But see,
podcast.
this is what you what you don't know. We are okay with this because I'll tell you why.
It's not just us.
No, there is no judging panel there who's saying, how is he handling the rebuttals? How is he making his points? Oh, he's giving in, right? So when you bring the element of competition into something, in my opinion, it just screws it.
No
Build up
arguments with
completely.
that. I agree. So whatever you said, I conducted a workshop, right?
Yeah.
I do remember when I conducted that workshop, I said this is for conversational debates. It's not for the stage. For the stage, it's different. You have to counter. You have to counter. And I gave some countering techniques,
Yeah.
how you can do your rebuttals and all that. But the art of conversation as something that people actually want to consume was a surprise when I first encountered it. I didn't know you could do that. For example, there's this show on HBO called The Newsroom. In the newsroom, I think towards the end, one of the last few episodes, they decide to do a mock Republican Democratic debate.
Okay.
And these guys call them and they say they want to do a mock, and they show the members of the Republican Party, Democratic Party, how we think the debate should be done. So there's a mock panel here. The news guy is asking a question. That person is trying to answer, and they give the normal political answer. This guy interrupts her, saying, "That's not what I'm asking. This is what I'm asking." And they can show that the person's getting visibly upset. And they're looking at the people who are hosting the event, saying, "This is what I want to do."
Yeah.
I used to be a prosecutor. I don't want to let them get away with giving me a rubbish answer. If I'm asking them a question, they need to give me an answer. And I'm going to keep pressing until I get an answer, until I'm satisfied, then I move to the next one. And obviously they said, no, no way, we're not doing all this crap. This is absolute rubbish. And then cut to a real debate happening. And the person who's asking the question asked, what is your favorite flavor of ice cream? And everyone just laughed. And that was the end of the debate. Now, when I saw that and I saw the debates that happen on TV now, I could relate. Like, this is not fun. Or you asking stupid questions and getting a general response. It's not fun.
No, but
I need to press. I need you to tell me what the truth is.
but two things, right? So if you see political debates, did you watch the Kamala Harris Donald Trump last debate?
I did.
Right? And if you notice, they asked Kamala, they really asked a question about how's the economy doing? She didn't answer the question at all. She went all around the world bringing up statistics, and she didn't answer the questions, and even CNN called it out. I mean, she skirted the issue. But then in events like this where the whole world is, I mean, the hosts have to also know they can't really press someone for the answer, right?
They can't. They are not allowed to. I don't know what the reason is. And in my mind, that is why this medium, a podcast medium, works. Episode 2 with Sanjeev Banerjee. That was when maybe a little bit of my debating came out for no reason. In fact, I still regret that. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. But he
But then
kept saying, I mean, he kept saying stuff. I don't care who you vote for. Honestly, I'm not a big BJP fan, nor am I a big Congress fan. In fact, I remember there used to be a time in our life when nobody cared who they voted for. Like, you voted for these guys, good for you. You didn't vote, yeah, go vote. Oh, you voted for them, okay, good for you. No one cared. When I was in the 90s or even the early 2000s, I don't think my dad ever asked anyone, who did you vote for, who are you voting for. Nobody cared. And that's my mindset even today. If you vote for Congress, if I vote for BJP, it doesn't matter to me. If I vote Congress, you vote BJP, I don't think it matters. We have our own way of interpreting what the policy is. We think it makes a good sense, we'll go vote. Simple. What Sanjeev Banerjee was doing that day was so weird. It seemed to me on the show that he clearly had a bias. And he wanted to protect that bias desperately. And I used Socratic method on him. I didn't give him my point of view at all. I kept asking him to explain why he had that point of view. And at some point, even these guys were laughing, saying, okay, what happened? And at one point, I think even you burst out laughing when he was saying all Modi ji does is goes travels around the world for no reason, randomly trying to make India look good. And we called him out on it. No, we're like, bro, that's a
there, there was the incident where we felt a little, a little strange was when there's truth and then there's so much stuff on social media. The phone call to Putin, which America made to sell, oil to India for cheap, and it's so crazy. America putting sanctions on Russia now, so we don't get the oil for cheap. So, I mean, people listen to news, and they get the news from multiple sources, and that's a problem, all right? I mean,
Sensationalism, yeah.
so no, I go to channels which I want to get news from because I only want to listen to that. So any garbage they throw at me now is going to be gospel truth for me because I want that kind of news. I think to a certain extent he may be influenced by that more than he's really been towards the center, but I think he's probably gone a little bit to the left because of sometimes it's like a tug of war, right? When a lot of people are pulling right, you feel you have to overcompensate and pull left, and then this is what happens. You get people far left and far right, and the inability to come to the center is a big problem now.
You know what's weird? Sanjeev Banerjee was episode 2 with the whole Putin thing, and episode 1 was a Russian.
Oh yeah.
And he was a fun Russian to be around. First of all, I think even off camera we were talking to him. That was, I think it was your idea to have him on as our first guest for the Pineapple podcast.
Yeah, probably.
He was a good. I didn't know. There was so much I didn't know about Russia. You were obsessed with that damn lake that you wanted to jump into. Lake Baikal.
Baikal.
Yeah.
Batkal.
Half the episode was just you trying to find, and then these guys, poor things, had to find a Google image and put a photo of that lake also.
That is the biggest inland.
I remember in the middle of the podcast we Googled it. We asked them, "Can you guys Google what's the longest train line or something?"
The longest train line is
That was
what's it?
Oh, you remember now?
Trans-Siberian Railway. You know that too. It's the longest. Oh my God.
But that was the first episode, and I remember that was the first time this setup and I think that time we had all the books. We didn't have these props. And in fact, yeah, just if you guys want to see the actual library, forget a photograph. Go to episode 1. You'll actually see the entire bookshelf, I think, there. In fact, we discussed the collector's edition of some of the Russian novels I have. He recommended Chekhov. And I told him yesterday, I didn't really enjoy Chekhov much, but I love Dostoyevsky. Dostoyevsky is, according to me, the greatest writer ever.
I've heard that many times from you, and I've spoken to people who've taken English literature as their subject in school, and when I mention the name Dostoyevsky, they say
With you and last
that
name.
they say it's really heavy stuff to read, and
Oh, it's not heavy stuff. So it's slow. He takes a lot of time in setting up the scene and setting up the characters. And we are so used to, get to the bloody point. What are you doing? And you realize only maybe a few moments in, once he reveals the plot, you're like, oh. And there are multiple such moments. I think one of the best ways to explain why someone should read Dostoevsky, if you've read Sidney Sheldon, or you read Jeffrey Archer, you read Robert Ludlow, you read David Baldacci, you read Enid Blyton, right? Once you read one, or you read Dan Brown, you read one of those books. The next time you read another book by that author, you'll understand the flow, and you'll know ki, okay, Sidney Sheldon, there's that surprise twist, that one person we didn't think of is coming. With Dan Brown, usually the person who was with them the entire plot, at some point he's going to give them a betrayal in the end, and that'll be an issue. With Jeffrey Archer, you know that this person who is the protagonist is going to figure it out and is going to have a massive failure at some point, and then someone who that person hates is going to come and help
him. Yeah.
Right? That pattern starts to emerge. With Dostoevsky, you read Brothers Karamazov, you read Crime and Punishment, you read Idiot, you have no idea what's happening in the next chapter. No idea. There is no connection. There is no way to relate Crime and Punishment with Brothers Karamazov. It's not related. The concepts are different.
How is it people haven't turned these books into movies?
It's philosophical.
But I started reading Crime and Punishment, after your recommendation. It's something you can make a movie out. I mean,
No, you can't. How do you make a movie out of it? Most of it is experiential. Then it has to be experienced.
I mean, the guy is walking, he's sitting in the bar, he's coming out, he's talking about. I mean, you can shoot, at least forget a series. You can make
Most of it are thoughts. Half of Crime and Punishment is what's going on in Raskolnikov's head. Half of it. And it's very, very powerful, man. One of the stuff when you read it and I had to close the book and spend a few minutes thinking about what I just read multiple times. That is the reason. And the thing about these things is, these guys are very real. There's this thing about fiction, right? People think that fiction is fiction. Obviously, it's not real. And I tell anyone this, that if you take a video camera and just record your day. You wake up, You put your feet into your bedroom slippers, you go into the bathroom, you're brushing your teeth, you're doing your business, you're walking out, you're doing exactly, you'll start yawning. Because that's what the average day looks like. But the fiction is that you've woken up and something has happened, right? So it's not it even if it doesn't feel real, it's more real than it could be because what they are actually doing is summarizing something for you in a very beautiful way. And Dostoyevsky does that at a level that no one else, probably Nietzsche is close, but no one else is as close as him. I wish I could have met him someday. Dostoyevsky is an author everyone should read at least once, or at least try to read once. And you got to work your way up to it. If you try to read it, I would say read Atlas Shrugged, read Tom Wolfe, read.
So let me cut you on that. You know what's really trending these days? Book summaries. You've seen that? There are these apps which summarize all the books. And I know,
Seen a good one?
no, because I don't know, I just feel that book summaries work for some types of books.
Have you seen a good one? Have you ever read a good book summary?
No, I don't. I'm not even gone there because I like to
The
consume the
you
book and
can
then
write a good book summary.
I think AI can write a good book summary.
Try it. Open challenge. Go to ChatGPT now, go to Grok, give them any book, ask them to summarize it, and then read the book and see if you agree with the summary. Open challenge.
So it the thing is, right? So I'll give you an example. Let's take a book which a lot of people read the summary for, Atomic Habits. Atomic Habits, 20 chapters, great, but the guy gets into the meat of it so much in like 10, 15 pages. So people just want the crisp takeaways from each chapter, right? So they get all of that in a summary. Wow, I've read Atomic Habits. I know the main points, but the whole thing is you actually experience it by consuming the whole book, which is what people don't want to do nowadays. So I feel that this whole book summary concept is really valid for self-help books more than it is for any other, specifically self-help, right? Because I don't think you can do it for, maybe stuff like AI, stuff like finance, stuff like, if I want to learn chartered accountancy, I'm not going to get a summary of that, right? I mean, do you think it's only valid for, what's your take on this?
I don't think you can summarize a book. It's like it's like wanting to go to a movie and reading the plot summary on Wikipedia. It's not the same. Imagine if you read the plot summary of Avengers Endgame on Wikipedia and then you go watch the movie.
Yeah, the fiction. It doesn't apply for fiction.
Yeah,
Fiction is
it
what
does. Of course it does. It's the same thing. It's an experience. In fact, I would tell you take a book which you've already read and read it again. I guarantee you will stop at a different place in that book because something else made you think. Like a really good book.
But you know what else I'm thinking of? The fact that we are recording a podcast. Because if we were to write something, nobody will read. So the way that people consume information today, especially the incoming generation, Gen Z, millennials, Gen X, they prefer to watch stuff a lot more than they prefer to read stuff. Maybe we are old school. Do you really think that's
Doesn't make it right. And I don't think it's true. I know enough people who read plenty. And there are so many channels on YouTube which are book summary channels. So many. Insane number of people who are on YouTube, who are everywhere just summarizing books. That's all they do. And the channels are very successful. So I think people do watch. On my Insta feed is littered with people who recommend books, summarize books. In fact, there is one trend. A lot of people will take a book. Let's say they're taking this book, right? Now, what they will do is they will hold the book like this, and they will say, "This is one of the best books I have ever read. This book is something that is going to change your life." Right? And about 20 seconds later, they'll say, like, "This book is the great corporate escape." So that's become a big trend on Instagram channels. Whenever you see someone doing something and and they're trying to build some suspense, and when they're building that suspense, they try to not show the book and put. You'll see so many of that on Insta, and it's a very open trend nowadays. People actually put 4 5 books like this and show it, and then they'll turn it the other way and show what the books are. They'll give a small prelude to it. So there are many readers. And see now, this is fun. So we obviously we didn't plan this conversation. We were meant to introduce ourselves,
yeah?
and we've gone.
You cut me short as usual.
So, but let me now challenge you on a topic. You said you mentioned Catholicism somewhere, and I don't know where.
I doubt I
You
mentioned
you
the
did it. You
dots.
did.
I
You
said the
rewind and
right.
at some
I
point.
said right and left. I did not
No.
touch any. So I deliberately did not. Okay,
But
it's
you
okay. Go for
rewind
go
and
for
see. You did say.
go for
So explain, why are you no longer a Catholic?
ah. So there's this book I read in 2000 and
I swear everyone's going to think all we do is read a book. Huh? Go ahead.
there's a book I read in 2000 and when was this? 2008. And this was a time when I was living in Hyderabad and I, just so you know, I didn't pick up the accent there at all. And I was staying with the two classmates from my master's, my post graduation college, and one of them was a son of a priest, and he gave this book to me and said, Mari, you should read this book. It was a Da Vinci Code, and
Yeah, I have to interrupt you. You know that they debunked some of the stuff in it.
I know,
Ah, okay.
I know, right? So I read the book, and he told me, he's like, this will change the way you think about everything. And then I started reading about, the what's it called, the golden ratio, and all this other stuff. And then questions started coming up. When I closed that book, I was like, oh crap, all I have been told is questionable. And then it didn't stop there. So I started buying a lot of other books. So this is why I didn't take that book as gospel, because by then, when I went and told my relatives that I was reading that book, they said it's bullshit. It's fiction, right? And I said, yeah, but a lot of the points that were put in there are questionable. So I went and started reading a lot of other books, the Gnostic Gospels, uh, and I started reading about the history of the church, which I didn't do until then. I had just taken everything I was given as gospel truth, which came from the gospel. That's why they call it gospel truth.
Truth, yeah.
So, and then I started questioning, and I found that the history of the church had a very checkered past, and a lot of questions, and a lot of things people took for granted because it was told. And then I started questioning them. And when I went and asked people for the answers, I found out that, well, they were not convincing. And that's when I really began to turn. And it was kind of liberating, actually, when I heard that, well, a lot of what we were told, like you will burn in hell if this doesn't happen, or you will be in paradise, and I respect the people who believed in that, but then at some point of time I said, maybe I need to find the truth out for myself. As they said, the truth will set you free. So I guess we're all in our own path of finding the truth. So i mean I don't get me wrong. I love listening to choir music, church choir music. I love it. It's kind of heavenly. But you can say I left the church. I mean, I love discussing religion. I love discussing.
I know. I discussed with you.
I love discussing the Bible, but I don't go by that anymore. So yeah, it was liberating. What about you? You I believe you're as agnostic as atheist.
I'm struggling with my faith. I am still struggling with my faith. I would like to believe I was atheistic to an extent when I was a kid, but I think that was just me being rebellious. I was forced to do the pujas. I was forced to do the thread ceremony that we do as Hindus. I was forced to go visit temples. And I think just I don't like being forced to do anything. So probably just a rebellious side of me did not want to believe at that age. I have enough reasons to struggle with my faith, and in the sense that a number of times in my life, there seems to have been a hand guiding my life, something pointing me in the right direction. And it seems to have happened whenever I've needed it the most. And it's unexpected. It could be a coincidence. It could be absolute crap. And that's why I'm still struggling with it. But what ended up happening, I think, over the last I want to say last 4 5 years, is I've started rereading the books. So instead of someone telling me to do something, once they tell me, I was like, okay, I'll look into it, but I go and find out why. So, like for example, I've read the Bible book page to page. I've enjoyed it. I genuinely liked reading the Bible. I read the Bhagavad Gita. I've read Hinduism. I've read the Quran. I've even read some Buddhist texts, and I've read some whatever I could get my hands on the Guru Granth Sahib from Sikhism. So it's very. I would strongly recommend anyone who's practicing a religion, do read the text for yourself. Don't listen when someone is telling you that this is what the text says and you need to do it. The texts are not easy to understand. They are not. The texts are
Cryptic.
most of them, I would say, are not supposed to be taken literally. They are like, for example, the Bible. If you look at some of the stories in there, there is no moral at the end of the story. It's just stuff that has happened.
No, I mean, the
Right?
Old Testament is just a
It's
journey
but
of the.
the only thing you can question is, wait, why did they include this story in here? Why? What is the point of including this story in here? And when you question why and you try to understand, you can have a debate with someone and understand, dude, there is a deep significance of this story. Think about what it means. Like Jonah and the whale.
Yeah.
Going to rescue your father from the depths of hell inside the belly of a whale and come back out is a story that was echoed in Pinocchio, but it was a biblical story. And the resonance of these stories is massive. The fact that I had never even read the Bible when I saw Pinocchio, but Pinocchio still made sense to me. But what was Pinocchio? If you see the start of Pinocchio, it is I forget the name of the puppeteer. It's something with J.
Geppetto.
Geppetto, right? Geppetto is wishing upon a star that he has a real son. The idea of wishing upon a star, it's a very biblical thing. The sending of so if you follow the Pinocchio story, what all happens? Pinocchio is a real boy. He has to go to school. He gets sidelined by this wolf who kind of tempts him that, no, you don't have to go to school. We'll do something, and it's kind of how life is going to lead you to the wayside. And then they take him to this island, which is Pleasure Island, which in my mind is what colleges have become nowadays, uh, where people are just jackasses. Literally, that what does he do in the movie? He dresses up like a jackass and is forced to break. It's pretty much what's happening in most colleges nowadays. You're in peer pressure. You're having to do things which you don't understand. This is what I don't understand about most of the protests happening in colleges. I've protested when I was in college, but this, what I'm seeing as protests, is not really protests anymore. Now this is protesting for the sake of
Why, again, going off tangent here, why would you not say, why would you condemn the very act which you were a part of once? Why would you call certain acts of protest not suitable, but what you did during your time was okay?
I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
I believe there should be a two-state solution in Israel and Palestine. And
I believe that too.
it should be something that is amicable to both parties. And it's your job as leaders to find a solution that works for both.
I guess that's a general.
But I cannot, I will never agree that LGBTQ people want to raise a flag saying queers for Palestine, when within Palestine today, there are no rights for the queer people. That is why the protest doesn't make sense to me. If you're protest, like in the 1960s, what was a protest?
Maybe they are taking the high road out.
Not really. It doesn't make it for all the causes that they should be standing up for. That one is not even close to the top 10. In the 1960s, when people were protesting, what were they protesting? It was such a powerful protest. They protested the Vietnam War. And that made sense. America should not have gone in for that war.
The LGBTQIA group, when they say queers for Palestine, they are fighting for Palestine life. They are choosing to ignore the fact that what the orientation of these people who are being killed. They're just choosing to ignore that, right? That could be a so see. Okay, let me take this angle, right? People say you get your morals from religion. That's a very standard thing, right? Why do you follow religion? Religion gives you morals. So what is good, what is bad. And then there's another school of thought, people you and I follow, Chris Hitchinson, and, they say being human, being itself, you come with inbuilt morals. So this is exactly what they're talking about, right? I mean, the LGBT people look at people being killed. They don't think, oh, they're the same religion as me, gender as me. They don't feel that you're not on my side. Why should I support? You're looking at it purely from a human perspective. Someone is getting killed. I should stand up. Hang everything else, hang all the other biases. Maybe that's the angle they're taking.
If there are 10 options in front of you, right? Let's say you are a United Nations Security Council chief. You have 10 options in front of you. You have $10 million. And you got to choose between these 10 options on which one you want to put your $10 million. One is AIDS, one is malaria, one is typhoid, one is hunger, something, all 10 options. You have money, but you need to find something to spend. There is no there is always going to be a wrong answer. Because if you pick malaria, people are going to say, why not AIDS? People are dying. You pick AIDS, people are say, why not malaria? It's something you can solve. But you pick something, and at least you solve that problem, things will be fine.
Yeah.
For the LGBTQ community, if you give them those same 10 options, there are a number of issues they can pick, number which they should pick. Right, in India, it was a criminal offense to
Yeah.
so there are a number of things you could have picked. You picked this one over all the others. That does not make sense to me. You could have fought for rights in Sudan. You could have fought for against Boko Haram. You could have fought against what's happening in China to the Uyghurs. You could have fought for the rights of Rohingya Muslims. You could have fought for free press in China and Russia. There's a lot you could have fought for and put your cause as a forefront. That we as LGBTQ people believe that just like we demand equality, equality is a right for every human everywhere on the planet. So we demand that the Uyghur Muslims are treated well. We demand that borders are open. We demand that the Rohingya Muslims are reallocated. That makes sense to me. You're picking sides in an Israel-Palestine conflict where you don't even understand what was the background of the war, and you're putting your entire force behind it. Where now, if anyone is supporting Israel, they're apparently homophobic and anti-LGBTQ people.
I don't think that
It's
assumption
starting to
can be. I don't think the assumption can be made that easily. Okay, let me take up to where you left. Right. So why did they pick that? Because the glaring eyes, all eyes in the world were turned there. It was not only the LGBT group. There were a lot of other special interest groups who
the eyes.
left
Okay.
everything else. And so I mean, Israel Palestine was a hot potato. It still is, right? I mean, people are being killed in in broad daylight. Although I agree, the same is happening in Sudan.
Okay.
It's not being
No.
same as right.
Eyes of the world is there. Fine.
Yeah, eyes of the world.
Why didn't they come out going anti-Russia? Russia-Ukraine war, eyes of the world were 100% there. 100% full eyes. So that was the first time a massive war was coming out in Europe.
Yeah.
Good chance. Come out and support the Ukrainian people against Russia. There should have been a quiz for your Ukraine movement.
They should have. Look, I'm not trying to justify why they chose that.
Exactly.
I'm trying to think.
And the problem is, but it's you can't fight the perception that this was a coordinated attack of some kind. Because the level it took off, suddenly everyone was pro-Palestine from the community. Everyone. It became a rallying call for some reason.
So to go back to what you said, right? Israel Palestine has a history. Ukraine Russia has a history too, but it's not too popular. The Israel Palestine problem is what been there since the independence of Israel in the 1940s, right? So that's a long.
Russia is an older.
Yeah,
It's the Tsar was originally from Ukraine and went to
but much older. It's older. But what's more known to the world is this. See, I'm not justifying what, right? I'm just saying that the limelight.
How did it come to this? College protests.
Yeah,
I feel like people come nowadays and there was a movie with Marlon Brando, if you remember, Rebels Without a Cause. It's a great movie, but I think they've taken the title too literally nowadays. Nowadays, people protest about anything without a second thought as to what they're protesting against.
So I know this for a fact. In Hyderabad, there are some universities. Osmania is one where the campus is known for protests. Protests happen there, and there are some other universities. I think JNT.
Jawaharlal Nehru University.
As JNTU, JNTU also, right? So some other universities you won't find this, right? So there are some which are, and they say left leaning, and there are some which are right.
I think it's left leaning, right leaning. It's just I don't. This is going to sound really weird, but in my mind, I think the number of issues to protest about has drastically reduced from the number of issues to protest about when I was 18.
But you think that with the reduced issues, the protest should also come down. But instead of coming down, they're increasing.
I feel like they're searching desperately for more things to protest about. And it feels childish to me. And maybe I'm just venting here.
Yeah, but what are they protesting about these days on campus?
Nowadays, anything. I remember when I was in engineering, a water cooler didn't work in our hostel. And everyone just started protesting, atyachar on us and everything. And people were occupying the ground and all, refused to go to class. I'm like, what? Well, water cooler? I don't care. I went to class. It happened in my college.
How much of this is actually a local and not really a local issues? And
it's not local issues. It's nothing issues.
Because I had a silly stupid issue when I was growing up in my college in Bangalore. I think one of the colleges. I think once the principal was fired, and the principal was at that time the bishop's son. in that, college, and they didn't like it. So they had the strike, and all of us had no choice. We had to be part of the strike. They locked the gate, and we had to stay in that whole college for one day. And that time we had no phones, no mobile phones. So I was kind of worried, what are my folks at home going to think I not come back? But then we were told, oh, this is a strike. You have to support it whether you like it or not. The issue was clearly local. It had nothing to do with anything happening outside the city. But how much of this is due to force of habit?
I want to cut in here again because you see what we just did again.
Yeah.
We're supposed to introduce ourselves.
Yeah.
But this is basically why we started the podcast. If once we get started, we can talk for hours. And if we have someone here sitting next to us who is as interesting, and we both are feeling like, oh shit, man, I never knew about these things, then we both have the time of our life.
Yeah.
Possibly, right? I think the best day on the podcast, well, we do 2 shoots a day, right? We do to kind of save money. We're kind of shooting in my house, and we do 2 shoots a day. So in the morning we had a shoot with Gaurav, and that episode is live. You can check it out. And that evening we had Sham, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. It was
Right.
Gaurav first.
And that was a fantastic day. That day was my favorite because both guests had some fantastic energy. And one way I know that we're doing a good job is at the end of it. I might be a little tired, but I'm high energy tired. It's like, man, this was awesome. This was awesome. And then that is how I know that we're on to something fun. That this is something I would like to keep doing.
Yeah.
Right?
Enjoy doing.
Enjoy doing. It's not something like we may make money off it. Great if it happens. But this is something that I'm earning money for. This is what I'm earning money for so that I can do this. This is that kind of a thing for me. Make sense?
Yeah, makes sense. So who are some of the podcasters you listen to?
Lex, Joe Rogan, Jordan Peterson's podcast is quite nice. Stephen Bartlett's podcast is quite nice. This guy, Valuetainment, Patrick Bet David, quite nice. These are podcasts everyone should follow. Tim Ferriss, fantastic. I'm pretty sure I'm forgetting some fantastic names, but these are podcasts I'm easily subscribed to that come off the top of my head. You know, Mario, one thing I've always wondered, why don't we ever have notes? I don't think we've ever kept notes. We've always just listened.
Yeah.
We've never taken notes. We don't. We should consider a notebook over here.
Yeah, possibly. But then I know
We've never taken notes, right? The 10 episodes we've shot so far, I don't think we've ever taken notes.
we don't use notes as well. Yeah, we don't take notes. We stay away from notes. So I listen to, I think in common we have is Lex Friedman. I listen to this podcast, which I think which I told you about, the All In podcast.
Nikhil Kamath.
No. The All In podcast has got 4 Silicon Valley entrepreneurs.
Oh, right.
One of them is this person called David Sachs, who's now the AI star in Donald Trump's cabinet. In fact, the sad thing is he's dropped out of the podcast. I used to love his opinion. Another one is somebody called Chamat Palapatia, who
Say that name again.
you should hear how he pronounces it. I'm trying to pronounce it the Indian way. Chamat Palapatia.
What is his designation?
He's also a VC. They're all VCs in Silicon Valley, and their take on the whole valley and the politics and AI, it's a huge broad. It's 4 of them talking all the time, and that's 1.5 hours. That's probably one of the podcasts, the other podcasts I listen to. And then I used to listen to this. Okay, I forget this name, but then there's a whole ton of them I listen, like CNBC, the aftermarket news, and CNBC with Squawk Box, just to keep myself aware. So not a lot of individual podcasts, but general news, I just keep ingesting it as it comes. You'd be interested to know that Zerodha has a podcast.
Nikhil Kamath. Yeah.
No.
Nitin Kamath.
The Daily Break.
The Daily Break.
The Daily Break. They summarize the tidbits of news in like 30, 40 minutes, what's happening. And I started listening to the Ken's podcast too. That's equally good. There are a lot of good Indian, companies or agencies which have come up giving news, like the Ken, one of them, and Zerodha is giving two, which I think are very good alternatives to listening to the actual news media like, NDTV, etc., which also gives you good news. Cap Table, Your Story. There's a whole ecosystem out there.
Your Story. Quite nice.
Your Story is quite nice. So Your Story, the same owners own Cap Table. There's this whole company called Inc. 42. who owns a whole bunch of these publications, and it caters mostly to the startup community and along with the politics. So I started following that too, and a lot of stuff happening there. So yeah, but I think the big difference is you prefer listening to long podcasts. I prefer the
Because I don't think people can be fake in a long run. One of the, which is the most common comment we've received on ours, it's too long, man. Who's going to sit and watch for 2 hours?
yeah.
And I respect it. I don't expect everyone to watch. Maybe they can fast forward and see the fun stuff, and we'll have a clips channel out soon, so you just watch the clips. But I do not have the ability to get someone to be fully truthful and open up to me in half an hour. I can't do it. But if someone's sitting and they're talking to us for 1 2 hours, at some point their guard gets down and they start being genuine and they start talking, very seriously, and it's fun. And when someone is in that flow state, that's way more fun than doing something for 20 minutes, 45 minutes, 1 hour. And I think the clips is something we should do. In fact, we'll have our editor on in a few minutes. He'll tell us we should do a clips channel, and that's one way to reduce the complaint. But we did a shoot today, right? Today we did a morning shoot, and we are high energy after that.
Not everyone can be in that flow state. When it comes out, it's just magical, right?
It was fun.
That
We've
was
done
fun.
10 episodes. I think we can say very honestly, maybe one or two were okay. Not as much fun to be. I won't name them obviously, but it's safe to say 7, 8 of them were quite fun. Quite fun. Surprisingly fun. When we looked up at the time, we were like, oh shit, how did that much time pass?
So I'm guessing that's also because for people to tell their story, you can't really put a 15 or 20 minute
Exactly.
time limit there.
Exactly.
We'd be rushing through it all, right? Yeah.
Like, I think when we started this, we told our editor we'll do a half an hour introduction and then bring him on. And I think we've already been speaking for 40 minutes ish. So that's not bad. 40 minutes, half an hour. Okay, actually, then we're getting better. Okay, so Mario, why do you think people should watch our podcast?
I think people should watch our podcasts for what they don't expect to get, right? So a lot of times when you look at the people who are coming in, for instance, let me pick Sham, right? One of the guests. I mean, when you look at the guy coming in, he's
Very formally dressed,
very formally
very
dressed,
proper.
he's experienced,
Yeah.
he's ahead in years, and you think, well, he's just coming to talk about his job. But then when you hear what his job is, you'll be shocked because, like most people, it seems like his whole innings is just getting started now. He's discovered this new gush. He has this gush for life, and he actually came out with his age and said that this is my age, and and it's like I'm not stopping here. I'm going ahead. I have so much more to do, and you can't get this thing out in first 5 minutes. It comes across as very robotic. You can't. You need to be able to get the person's personality out.
I was telling my editor just today, just a few moments ago off camera, that maybe I've started to become a little arrogant. I'll tell you why. I start when I'm watching a podcast now, or when I watch an interview on TV now. In my head, I'm thinking, wait, why are you interrupting? Let them finish what they're saying. Dude, he just said something. Ask him more questions about that. In my head, I feel like, oh shit, I'm becoming a podcast nerd.
Don't you think that's because everyone is following a pre-written script that we have to ask these 10 questions and there is only 30 minutes?
I
So
agree. You can ask any of our guests. We've done no pre-interview with them. I'll even tell you guys the rule we have for our guests. We tell them this beforehand that look, if you don't want us to talk about a topic, we won't. We're not here to push you on anything. So if you don't want to talk about something, we'll avoid it. But if something gets recorded, we're not going to delete it. That's the rule we tell all of our guests. And a lot of them respect it. They come in here, we sit, we hang around maybe for an hour or so. We're just normally chit-chatting. Then the cameras roll and we just continue talking from where we left off. And I don't think in any of the episodes thus far, we've had maybe one episode we had a minor issue which we handled. But other than that, the guests have been very, very cordial. That yes, the data is yours. Please upload, publish as you want. Sham, you mentioned, went one step ahead, broke down the episode himself.
follow, really follow, and
Posted it on LinkedIn.
posting it on
And
LinkedIn.
we're like, oh crap, we should have done that.
We should have done that, yeah.
Some of these, we learn from our guests more than we expect to. What's been your biggest learning this past 1 year?
Biggest learning from this podcast, I think, like anybody who who comes in will appreciate the process behind this. Like you said, or like our guest who came in today said, oh, we thought it was just like a, place where you sit down, but the amount of work which goes behind it, exhausting. I mean, when people find out I'm doing a podcast, oh, you're doing a podcast, I'm like, yeah, it's more than you're doing a podcast. There's a lot more to it, which goes on behind the scenes, which you don't know, which you learn about what happens today. Today, one case, an example, we learned about, our earlier guest spoke about music production. Similarly, we have a lot of, whole team behind the set who's, I mean, it's been a learning for us to, how to, how you need to sit, how you need to present. It's not like you're standing in front of people. The things you can say applicable for me, not for you, of course.
No, company formation was something I didn't know. We had to connect with the CA who helped us file the process papers for the company. We still have to get a bank account chartered.
Yeah.
There's stuff that we have to do on the admin side on the parallelly. We had to check legally. We had to hire company secretaries. We've not yet done that, by the way.
Yeah,
But there are some things pending. But it's days like this where it feels awesome. That when a guest comes in and we feel like we've done a good job as a host and we had fun, then I guess it was a good day.
No, tell me, what's your biggest takeaway? You can't use the same answer I used.
My biggest takeaway was that, and I'll give you some background. We've shot 10 episodes as of today. 10 episodes as of today, we've, without a strain, without a deadline, without saying, no, we have to go for 2 hours, we have to go for 1.5 hours, without any such thing, in a very relaxed, easygoing environment, all our guests have spoken for at least 2 hours. Easily.
Yeah.
Right? But in general, people can judge us on this, call us out on the BS if it is BS. You can watch the videos and see, does it feel like we're trying to stretch the conversation unnecessarily? It doesn't feel like we've done that. They've naturally gone on and spoken for 2-3 hours. And my takeaway is that if you let people speak, their stories will just come out in droves.
And to add to that, I never seen any guests very jittery, wanting to leave in the middle of that. They seem to be enjoying your face. Seem to be enjoying it too. I mean, at least I didn't get the vibe that they weren't.
Okay, we have a small surprise for you. We're going to bring our editor, who you usually see behind the camera, and he's going to come in here, and let's get some direct abuse.
Yeah, let's get some direct.
Yeah, let's bring our editor on. We promised you that we will get you some inside scoops today as we are reviewing 1 year of the Pineapple Podcast. We have with us our editor, our buddy, our partner, but we still pay him. He's our employee. But Pratik, in your own words, 1 year you have been working with us. If you had to tell someone or recommend this podcast to someone, how would you do it?
Link?
I mean, why should someone watch this podcast?
Oh, it's actually from my experience, I've got to learn a lot about a lot of people who've been in a lot of different fields. So for that, yes. If you're curious about curiosity or anything, yeah, you should definitely watch this podcast.
What was the biggest surprise moment you had where you were behind the camera? You're like, huh? Ye kya hua?
Oh, the previous one where we shot Ashwin, when I realized that his life and my life, we have a lot of commonality.
You guys are in the same school, yeah.
Yeah. And apparently he is my senior from school. Like, how did that happen? Like,
That was funny.
the world's very small. The world's very small. But when my father asked me, do you want to drop out for photography? Yeah, I said yes instead of saying no.
Yeah, he did 1 more year. So respect to him to do that. You were about to ask something.
Yes, yeah. When you came to our, when you first met us, right? And you came to this
He never met you. He met me first.
when you met Krishna, and you came here and you saw this old room, and we said we're going to shoot the podcast here, right? What were your initial impressions about getting this?
So I'll tell you the moment when it happened and then let him take over.
Yeah.
So I opened the door and I don't know who he is. I'm like, yes. He's like, hi. I got a call about the podcast. You were interested. Oh, you must be Pratik. Yeah, I'm Pratik. And then I open the door and he walks in. And I don't know, I don't even remember what he was dressed, pretty much dressed the same way, walks in and looks around the entire house. I'm like, what happened? No, you're shooting here only, no? I'm like, yes, I'm shooting here only. So, and then he doesn't talk to me for about maybe 10, 15 minutes, he doesn't say a word. This is our first interaction. All he's doing is just looking around, and then, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's a great sign, right?
So that I never even told him I want him to be my
Go, he's sizing up the whole pass, thinking of what should go where, and he probably thought you got a whole bunch of books there which are in the wrong place. And he must have thought, why are these?
He didn't see the books. Yeah, he didn't see the books because when he came in, this window was down.
When you saw the books, what did you think?
I'm like, how can a person read so many books? Don't you think we need a novel? Not have pictures or images.
I read comic books. It's not that, but he was wondering how do we do the setup in the house. That was his only question. And I do remember he said, Krishna, are we going to be talking about anything controversial? I said, no. We are a very nice people. We might speak about homosexuality sometimes. We might speak about
nothing controversial. Were you disappointed?
Yes. Honestly, yes, a bit. But then he's never disappointed me after that. We've talked about, see, you've talked about homosexuality. You've taken a hit on the prime minister of this country.
Yeah.
The first guest was a Russian. Yeah. And then this was the first time I had the privilege of drinking a Russian vodka with a Russian in India.
Ah, yes.
So, yeah, that's one. And then we had a musician, someone from my own industry wala field. So, yeah, that was also nice.
Sukriti.
Yeah, correct. And then, yeah, we Miss Valavalkar. If I have the surname. Valavalkar. Yeah, if I have the surname right. Like, other than my father, she's the first person, like, after my father, whom I know, who's been on an oil rig. So,
Your dad was in an oil rig?
yeah.
You never told us. Which oil?
Yeah. A lot of them. Like, I'll have to ask him to get back to you. Like, yeah, we can place them somewhere here in the video.
अब सूझ रहा है ना ये सब बाकी वीडियोस में क्यों नहीं प्लेस किया भाई
You give my clients, you're supposed to tell me what to do, what not to do. I can give you my opinions.
Remember in the first
you very well know we bully the crap out of
first few episodes, there was a mic here, there was a mic there, and there were like wires all over the place.
I forgot him. Dude, it's so sad. How did you forget this?
And sometimes you were like, okay, I need to move there. I hope I don't trip over any wire.
Yeah. So and one of the mics, the nut isn't there. So we had to do a makeshift one to make it work. And that was always my mic for some reason. So it was always this mic here, and guest gets a good mic. He gets a good mic, even though he barely speaks anything in the podcast.
Wait.
But I get the complicated mic, and I had to be very careful and not even move. First 3 episodes, if you guys watch, you'll see that mic is actually there, and I can barely move. I'll be like this most of the time, and wake up with some part of my body pain. And then we switched mics, I think.
Yeah, wait.
4 or 5.
1, 2, 3, 4. 4 from 4, episode 4. Yeah.
And that was a fantastic decision. Mario loves being having a wire coming from inside his body.
Yeah, it's really good. I think the same was.
You wonder how that wire goes off it.
Pratik, where do you think we are going to be next year? 10 episodes later? Or do you think we'll only do 10 more episodes? Because I think we'll do more.
No, I guess we're going to speed up the process. See, like, this bookshelf has come a long way from the first episode. Like, yeah, and sorry about not keeping your books here. But yeah, it does look a lot better now. The sound is a lot better now. The lighting can definitely be better. Yeah. अगर कोई बजट बढ़ा रहे तो बस like और
शर्म आ रही है कभी कैमरा में आके बजट की बात करेगा तू ऐसे करेगा तू हमारे साथ है
I like that. I can cut everything.
अच्छा
So I have, and the funniest part is, he refers to the both of us as editors, and we're handling the camera.
तो क्या बोलूं मैं
Cameraman, GPs.
They are not.
Your number is saved on my phone as Pratik Bhorgate editor because that was how your number was given to me.
Krishna.
Pratik Bhorgate editor.
They are our production team. If you see, they're doing everything.
ठीक है
No,
I'll change your name no
No, the compliment. People.
I'll change it.
What did you learn in Toastmasters?
Pratik,
Tell me.
production.
What did you learn?
Pratik product
Who's asked you kiss up half the time? You're kissing out the wrong people. These people put in so much effort.
See, this is the problem Pratik has with working, and we don't create a safe environment. There's one talent who, for no reason, will keep bringing up the rear end. For no reason. We weren't even going there, we weren't even talking about it. But one person will always keep bringing it up. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yep. He's going to file a case on you. We should have a posh certification here and get you certified.
Oh, I need to be certified? Wow. Who gives certifications on posh? Please tell me.
The next guest will tell us. We'll get an HR person.
The certifications are DI, not posh.
And must
Again,
I would have asked to be. There must be a posh search.
anyway, can we please ask him? I mean, you're attacking me for no reason.
No reason? Did he not bring this on himself?
He did. He always does.
Ah. Pratik, bolo.
I believe we have a long way to go. First, I really love the first episode. I really love the last episode. So yeah, I guess we're on a good track. We can do a lot better. I've given you a lot of suggestions about how maybe we can plant things here and there, karke, since you wanna avoid controversy, and then maybe just ask.
I don't avoid controversy. Who wants to avoid
No, that is what you told me initially, that you want to avoid controversies. That's a joke. Yeah. If we can just put some sort of controversy, like a planted question, maybe here and there.
Flow, you've seen how we do it. No?
I really love this flow. It's very organic. Like, you know when not to stretch things, or you know how, at what points you're supposed to dive in deeper. So yeah, that's nice. That's nice. So I've gone through all your episodes at least thrice, because once when I'm sitting over there right in front of the camera, next to the camera, I watch the entire episode from there. Second time when I go back home, when I do the subtitling corrections karke, and look for I have to go through all the entire 2 hour long podcast to pick out the best bits and pieces, so that we can have a highlight in front of the year. And then one more time when I have got to cut vertical cuts. So yeah.
That's what, and no joking, no joking here at all. So these are the kind of things that happen behind the scenes. Literally, he reaches our house maybe at 8:39 in the morning, but when he's reaching our house, he's already been on the road for maybe 3 hours. Well,
3 to 4 hours.
3 to 4 hours, because he's traveling from one place, going somewhere, picking up all these camera equipments, bringing them back here, shooting, packing up, going back, delivering it, and then going to his house. And last time we shot, you did something even more extraordinary, that you left the cameras there, then went to the airport, or took a car and drove to Agra.
All the way to Agra. Correct.
Fantastic.
No, that's the fun part. He goes to Agra to shoot. So yes.
So, dude, after we shoot 2 episodes, I'm out of energy normally. He is doing this, sitting there, doing the episode, and then still going to Agra and continuing shooting.
Yeah, which is amazing.
I mean, the energy level, like, I gotta give you that respect. That is mad energy levels, and I really wish you would get some more sleep. Not very healthy for you. But other than that, yes, I do I do think I've told you this face to face, but I'll say it on camera. I do have mad respect for your work ethic. I do like the professionalism you bring here. I do like how silently Nikhil sits there judging you when I'm complimenting you.
Listening everything.
No, but very honestly, I think this entire year, every episode, we've started late occasionally, but once we've started, and we've never had to stop because there was a technical issue. Once
We had to stop because of external sound.
But that's a good thing. We kept talking so long that stuff overheated. We were like, "Arey wow, such a good problem to have."
You remember once there was some external stuff happening on the road. I think a procession or something.
We went on.
Dashera, Durga Ma ka
We continued.
Visurgin tha karke. We did wait for some time, but then we ended up
for some
taking that call. Let's do this.
This was a good. I'm very glad we started this, and I think Pratik, that I'm quite happy. I think we partnered with the right people.
Oh, yeah.
So
Means a lot. Means a lot.
Looking forward to 10 more episodes easily.
Yes.
Maybe 20, maybe 50, maybe 100, maybe 1000. I mean, why put a number to it?
Yeah.
Right? I think from April, we would. The plan is that we start shooting every alternate Sunday, and we shoot 3 episodes a day.
Yeah.
Let's see how far we can push ourselves.
That'll be overdrive. We'll have to have a go at that.
I think we can do it. Well, 1 year we've been doing 2 episodes a day on Sundays.
Yeah.
We can push ourselves to pay. Get some. We've started getting things from people wanting to be guests. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
Right? That was a big surprise. People pinging us saying, "Can we come on the show?" I'm like, "You're most welcome. Please come." And yes, if you are interested to be a guest on the Pineapple Podcast, you can reach out to me directly, Krishna Subramanian. I'm there on Instagram as Krishna Subramanian87. Drop me a DM.
We'll put the handle somewhere.
Yes, I'll share our handles. The Pineapple Podcast is on Instagram. You can drop a message directly to the handle. We would love to have you on and understand your story. If you would like to promote a book, if you've noticed, since he came on the show, we've had this book up here. This is how dedicated we are with our promotions. We will make sure that we will promote whoever comes on here.
Oh, if you have a reel to promote, or you have a channel to promote. I mean, it doesn't have to be only book. It could be any medium of a.
Watch out for clips. That is one thing he has been saying for a while. We will actually get started with this. We'll have a clips channel out very soon. And thank you for subscribing. If you have not yet watched an episode,
Go for it.
there are many down. Have a look. You will enjoy yourself.
Before we call it, yeah, just one last thing. Sorry to butt you in. I just like to appreciate the unsung heroes. Other than me, there's Nikhil Chifte, there's Ashwin Chandrasekhar, the editors, Rishabh Chawla, Advait Shivade, the audio engineer. Every time we have any sort of audio issues, we always end up getting in touch with him, Aditya. Our vendors, Ravi's Equipment. Yeah, so yes.
No, that's a very fair call out. Did we miss anyone? Thank you for your help in the initial stages, Dimple Mehta.
Yeah, Dimple, she's the reason why we're all of us are here right now. Disha, Kiara,
Yeah, my wife for the regular coffee updates, for managing everything in the back end, for yelling at people who ring the doorbell.
See, I was right. This is our production team. And you want to file a posh complaint against me for what? I called out right. They are production team.
Yes,
You
I
wrote
will
what-
protect them because
Read
from
your
you,
words.
I will protect everyone from you. You
Predict your own words.
we appreciate you guys subscribing. I hope this was helpful. I know we got a few comments explaining who we are, why we do what we do. If you didn't get it, let me summarize it again. We are two idiots who don't understand a lot about how the world works, and we would like to learn. We would love to learn from people who've done something phenomenal in life. We've found a great team of people who are willing to help us learn, and we would love for you to be on the ride with us. And I think that's a good place to end this. Yeah, yep.
Cuts.